Good day, ladies and gents, fellow traders. Alex Morrison with Precious Times here. Our show is all about the multi-billion-dollar commodity market. And this week, we're talking about money. We're going to answer the question, is money a commodity? Now, it might surprise you to know that there is a big debate in the financial world about how to define money. The ancient cultures invented money to replace the slow-moving barter system. Now, during those times, traders and states were looking for systems to make exchanges easier. Like modern times, most exchanges in the ancient world were based on supply and demand. Take salt, for example. Salt was so important for a soldier's diet that the Roman Empire gave an army a cash subsidy to pay for salt. That's why the word salary comes from the Latin word salarium, or salt. Commodity money was a more convenient way to exchange valuables. Silver, bronze, and gold coins were financial commodities used to exchange for other valuables like sheep or wheat. They were a lot easier to carry around than a herd of goats. Commodity money was more liquid than exchanging a herd of animals for a piece of land, for example. And at this stage, money was a commodity because it was made of metals with their own intrinsic value. Gold, silver, and bronze could be traded on their own merit, not only as money. As we said earlier, a commodity has value based on supply and demand. It's something we need and will pay for to have in our lives. In the end of the day, supply and demand, it is indeed a core economical model of price determination in any market. It stands behind the point that in any competitive market, the unit price of a good will vary, up to a moment, most importantly, a price in time in which quantity demanded by consumers pretty much equals the quantity supplied by producers. And that's when we find ourselves in an economical equilibrium in price and quantity. For example, foods like grains are commodities. So are animals, construction materials, and precious metals. Commodity money changed the world, making it more efficient. Traders could travel widely, selling and buying goods more easily. As traders soon find out, though, when money has value in itself, its own market forces can determine how much it's worth. Based on the economy's performance, a government can issue bonds with a return or yield, usually based on the key interest rate set by the central bank. It uses the bond sales to get revenues for large-scale infrastructural projects like roads, schools, airports, and so on. It uses tax revenues to repay those bonds and to maintain the value of its currency. Bottom line, the value of the country's money comes down to its reputation for hard work and repaying debt with an interest. Currencies have their own markets. They are traded against each other 5 days a week on the international forex markets. The euro-US dollar, for example, is a major currency pair. The value of one against the other is used to determine export prices and buying power between the EU and the US markets. It's rare that all parts of the global economy are stable at the same time. Usually, there are wide economic imbalances and currency fluctuations between different parts of the world. That means that the currency markets can be extremely volatile. Major currencies have more buying power than emerging currencies like the Chinese renminbi. This is because their underlying economic performance is more transparent and more efficient. In the currency exchange markets, money returns to its original status of having its own inherent value. In this context, you could say that currencies are treated as commodities in themselves, meaning that X amount of euros would buy you Y amount of US dollars. That's all we have time for today, ladies and gents. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Precious Times. We'd love to hear from you. Post your answers in the comments section. This was Alex Morrison with Precious Times.